Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Sunday, happy October, happy fall. Welcome to my show. My name is Sean Brown. I am the Urban Disruptor, and this is the Urban Disruptors Weekly Wrap Up. Please share this so that your friends and family can see it too. Share this video so that they know that it's on. I have some information to share today about the election, about voting, about what things that are happening in our community, some news and information. Please let me know if you have any questions, if you have any issues with anything that's being discussed here today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have a small audience. Thank you guys for being in the audience today, showing some support as we social distance with our masks. Great job, guys. You'll be off camera the whole time. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am live. You should see the notification. You see the notification? All right. I'm live. I'm gonna share this so other people can see it too. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. As usual, at least I hope as usual, I have some information to share that I think you'll find helpful and valuable as we get through all of this. As usual, I hope that you are healthy. I hope you're drinking water, you're eating your fruits and vegetables, you're exercising, spending time in nature, and doing all that it takes that we know makes us happy. Today, I will be sharing all sorts of information about things that are happening in our community. Please tune in. Please share this. Please tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody around here that the show is on right now, because here we are. All right. I have a lot of information to share. I want to let the audience build up as I do it. So please continue just to share this. Let them know that it is on, that we're going to be informed, that everybody's going to have a great time. We're all trying to figure this out as we do this today. I'm just typing along on the computer to get ready for some information that we're going to share. Thank you so much. We're going to talk about the school board election again. We're going to talk about a rise in COVID-19 cases. We're going to talk about a barbershop robbery and other things. A 15-year-old who's been charged with murder in our city, unfortunately, and some of the issues that are going on with gangs right now. Yeah, it's going to get deep. It's going to get deep. So tune in, share this video, make some comments. Let me know what you're thinking, what's on your mind. If there's any other information that you want to see as well. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. We greatly appreciate it. We're going to get right through it. And I'm going to start with just sharing some of the news. So the first thing is, as you know, as I've talked about many times in this show, for the second year in a row, and for every year here on out, we will be electing 3 members to the Camden School Board. All voters, no matter where you live in, as long as you live in Camden, all voters are able to vote. There's 7 people running. I talked about Theo Spencer in the show before in detail, gave a little bit of his background after Stephen Rodas did the article. And I told you all that, unfortunately, it's going to be a no for me on Mr. Spencer. I will not be voting for him. There's an article about 3 other candidates, and I'm just going to summarize this for everyone in case you didn't see it. So this is in Tap Into Camden by Stephen Rodas. Meet the Camden School Board candidates, Education for Everyone slate. And Education for Everyone slate includes Karen, and I'll show this to you guys, includes Karen Merricks, Minister Wasim Muhammad, and Detective Clayton Gonzalez. All right, so here we go. So that's Ms. Karen Merricks. This is Minister Wasim Muhammad and Mr. Clayton Gonzalez with his nice tie pin there. That's also a nice tie on the minister. All right. All right, so I'm just going to read this article. Carry the baton for late school board member President Martha Wilson. It was the message that permeated from all 3 Camden candidates of the Education for Everyone slate as they kicked off their campaign roughly a month ahead of the November 3rd election. The ticket has been endorsed by the Camden City Democratic Party, Frank Moran, Donald Norcross, Sheriff Wilson, the late president's husband. It includes current board member, Minister Wasim Muhammad, 53, Karen Merricks, who's 60, and Clayton Gonzalez at 32. Karen Merricks, I didn't know you were 60. This will be the second consecutive year that board members who advise Superintendent Katrina McCombs rather than vote in bylaws are elected following election of 3 years. After Wilson died in April, Muhammad was voted in as president. Nominee Nelson became vice president. Merricks was appointed to the vacant position by Moran, since that was how Wilson joined the board. Merricks, who has lived in Camden, North Camden for 25 years, founded Universal Sisters United roughly 17 years ago. We offer education, mentorship, education programs, job opportunities for families, charm school for young ladies, a reading, writing, and rapping club, as well as courses on how to be an entrepreneur and give back to the community. Carry the legacy that Wilson laid out and some of the reasons Merricks is running. When she learned that he had to enter an individualized education program, she says much of her life became about positioning him to succeed. The program is provided to students who require special education services. I don't know if there's something missing, like a sentence missing there, but I think she's referring to her son. I learned that to be an advocate for myself and my son when I needed to get answers about the challenges with school. I learned that being president is not always welcome, but it pays, persistent is not always welcome, but it pays off, just as it did for our family. I'm going to move on. Gonzalez, one of the youngest individuals to run in 2020, said it felt like it was the right time to submit his candidacy for the first time, simply because he felt he could be even more help to his community in public position. An active resident, Gonzalez's family migrated to Puerto Rico in 1992, joining a large host of others in the city with roots from the Caribbean island. And he goes on to talk about things. Muhammad, formerly Donnie Walker, played starting guard for the undefeated 1986 Panthers basketball team alongside Ward 2 Councilman Victor Carstarfin. The minister taught social studies and special education at Hatch Middle School for 9 years, from 91 to 2000, before becoming a full-time minister of the Nation of Islam's Temple of Islam, number 20. He says running for board this year came down to a phone call. The day before Wilson's untimely departure, I had the opportunity to speak on the phone with her for an hour. I was grappling whether I should make a decision to run. She would call me at least every other week just to download for me what was going on and things that she needed for me to do. It was an eye-opener for me. The next day, when I got a phone call from our counselor here at the second ward, and he told me about her passing, the question of whether I should run, the spirit of it was answered right there. Y'all, I'm struggling here. I'm struggling because this is oh my God. Lord help me. Okay. At what point are the people in Camden that run for office going to actually talk about how their service is good for young people that are in the education system? The fact that a councilman told you the passing of Martha Wilson, the fact that Martha Wilson passed away is completely irrelevant to the idea of why one should run for office. I'm not running for office to carry on the legacy of someone that's deceased. I'm running for office to do good work for young people that need it. Do you guys see? Do you guys see what the academic data that comes from the Camden School District? How well or not well many of our students perform? The severe budget issues that exist in our city. Do you know that the superintendent on this show and many other places has called for us as a community to ask for education reform to make it so that charter schools, Renaissance schools, and district schools all apply by the same rules, all of them. I don't want to hear about who you are endorsed by because I don't know what their education agenda is. I don't know what they do. I know that they might show up to events. That's good. I know they're friendly. That's nice. But what specific steps are being taken to improve the quality of education for our young people? to make sure that parents feel informed and supported and understand what their responsibility is, that we're recruiting Black and brown and culturally aware people to our system to be educators. That's the agenda that I want to hear about. Not a bunch of old school Democrats endorsing a bunch of loyal Democrats. I want to know what your education agenda is. I want to know what it is. This is a reasonable request. Karen Merrick's has a history of doing great things for children, with her own children and others firsthand, and with other people's children with the organization that she works for in Atlantic City. Clayton Gonzalez is a parent, a district parent, went through the system, and I've seen with my own two eyes him advocate for the children of veterans in Kramer Hill neighborhood where he's from. I've seen this. Mr. Muhammad has more experience with children than any other candidates because he was a classroom teacher and he's the director of a preschool. But as I've said before, and I have a moral obligation to say again, Clayton for me is somebody that I'm going to consider voting for. I didn't vote yet. Karen Merrick is someone I'm going to consider to vote for. I did not vote yet. But it's a struggle for me to vote for a person who has multiple, not one, two, or three, many, multiple, several state inspection violations of his own daycare center. These aren't violations from 10 years ago when he was trying to figure it out. These are violations from the last few years. I don't understand how you can be a candidate for school board, how you can be the president of an education system when the education program that you run is clearly problematic. I also don't understand what is going on within the Democratic Party where we can't find legitimate, qualified candidates to run. I don't care that you played basketball in the 80s. I played baseball in the 90s. What does that have to do with anything? Victor Karstarfin is a councilman. Victor Karstarfin is also an accountant. He brings some professionalism to the position of his public service. Minister Muhammad is also a professional. He's an educator and a minister. I want to know not who called you and had conversations with you months and months ago. I want to know what you did with that. I was on the school board for 3 years. I probably talked to more school board members than anybody else. That's not what motivated me to continue. What motivated me to continue was knowing that I could make a phone call, send an email, send a text, do research, make a presentation, make a speech, make a vote, make a motion, recommend a policy that would actually have an impact on the experience of a young person in the classroom. That is what the duty is upon us all. I tell you guys this all the time. I read the newspaper. I read the news every day. I read newsletters. I look at signs. I talk to all sorts of people from all sorts of political backgrounds in this community. I don't know what the local Democratic establishment's education agenda is. I know that Nye, who is supported by the party, does a great job of advocating for students. I know that Folio was endorsed by the party, does a great job of advocating for students. And I talked about that last week. But I know that Minister Muhammad's been there longer than any of them, and I just don't see the contribution that he makes. And I'm not being a man. I'm not being a man, and I'm not being a good father, and I'm not being a good community member if I'm not willing to say this out loud. So I want to share that with you. Next story, also by Stephen Rodas of Tap Into Camden. Rise in Camden COVID cases continues as second wave looms in New Jersey. So the story reads, a day after Health Commissioner, here, I'll share this with you. A day after Health Commissioner Paris Shelley, I got to share it. Okay. Forwarded a potential second coronavirus wave in New Jersey, Camden County completed its highest 7-day average of cases with 84 more Friday. So cases are continuing. Freeholder Capelli makes a comment about this because healthcare is managed at the county level. And I got a call coming in. from Vida. All right. Good morning.
Are you ready for this?
No.
The devil will reveal itself, given enough time. But you know, they was talking about who wanted to be delegates for the state conference, right?
Wait. You know I'm on my show, right?
Yeah, I know.
You're live.
Um,
You're live, Ida.
I'm live.
Yes.
What do you mean? You can't see me.
No, I hear you. You're on the show. Are you calling in to make a comment?
No, they can't. No, I ain't calling it.
Oh, I got to call you back then, Vida.
All right.
Vida's called me on some double NAACP. I thought she was on the comment on the have something significant to say. It just turned out to be a big coincidence. All right. Anyway, people are getting sick of coronavirus. Wash your hands. Wear a mask. Stay away from large groups of people. These people don't know what's going on with this virus. I don't want to get anybody sick. I don't want to cause anyone to die. That's a compromised immune system. Please continue to follow the rules of what's going on. This crazy. All right. I'm just sharing this next story with you. You guys can see this already. This story is kind of crazy. Masked New Jersey barbershop robber who held gun to boy's head takes plea. A convicted armed robber had been put out of state prison barely a month when he grabbed a boy at a Camden barbershop last year, put a gun to his head, and forced employees and customers to empty cash and belongings into a bag. That pleaded guilty Wednesday to federal charges in exchange for what he hopes will be leniency at sentencing. He forced everyone on the floor and fled with $754 in a customer's wallet. He was wearing a mask. Well, he was wearing a mask. Oh, look, but this was November, so it was before COVID. When he entered the Federal Street shop in the middle of the afternoon and put a gun to the boy's head and threatened to hurt him, as everyone got on the floor. All right. Well, this dude certainly has some psychological issues. I hope he gets psychological help while he is in jail. I hope that young man is okay. 15-year-old among two charged with murder in Camden last week. Next story. Charges have been filed in two unrelated Camden homicides, according to acting Camden County Prosecutor Joe Mayer and Camden County Police Joe Wasaki. Omar Brown, no relation, 33 of Camden, has been charged with one count of first-degree murder in the October 4th stabbing death of Tyree Gasutan. Police responded to the intersection of 30th and Stevens, East Camden, that's near McGraw, around 2:40 p.m. on Sunday for a report of a fight. When they arrived, they found Gasutan suffering from multiple stab wounds in the chest. Detectives say he later died at the hospital. A 15-year-old juvenile defendant has been charged with one count of first-degree murder, one count of second-degree murder, possession of a weapon for an unlawful possession, and one count of second-degree unlawful possession of a weapon. The 15-year-old is currently detained at the Juvenile Detention Center. All right. Police responded to the 1800 block of Mulford around 10 a.m. for a shot spotter activation of multiple gunshots fired. When they arrived, they found a woman shot inside a vehicle. She was transported to an area hospital where she was pronounced dead. The victim is identified as Sheila Baskin, 74 of Camden. The shooting remains under investigation. All right. So here we are. Stop sharing. We have young people who are killing other people right now. A grandma on her way into her car, shot and killed in the middle of the day. This is not the way it's supposed to be. This is not okay. So several things. One, this is election season. I have heard nothing from anyone that's elected to office about the horror of a 74-year-old being dead. Not one. I heard from many of you. Have we given up on the power of government and policy to make change in people's lives? Have we accepted that this is just the way it is? That young people are going to join gangs and get guns and shoot, and it's hit or miss and collateral damage. Are we going to dismiss this as a Camden thing and do nothing about it? The answer, unfortunately, is clearly yes. The answer is yes. A grandma. What that lady do? Who she hurt? Nobody. There's another crime I didn't that was also discussed. The 4 young people. Let me pull this up so you guys can see it. The 4 young people who were charged with killing. Excuse me, not killing. Shooting up the house. Oh yeah, I gotta talk about these guys too. Shooting up the house in East Camden. So, hold on, I'm just trying. I need to find the story. I want you to see this. So 4 young people were in Camden were arrested. Here it is. Here we go. Share screen. Okay. New Jersey police used geofencing surveillance video to identify and arrest 4 suspects in shooting of officer's house. And let me shut this off.
Fastest internet in America.
Be quiet.
Then give people
You guys hear my computer talk? The computer talking?
and offer internet starting at just $39.99. This is internet and TV built right.
Residents of Camden will soon have more opportunities to create their own gardens or pick up fresh fruits and veggies.
There's a whole different tab. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. All right. The Camden County Police Department and several law enforcement partners used high-tech tools in their investigation of the gunfire into the home of 2 sleeping police officers in the city last month. And here you see these young people who were arrested. I did a little bit of research into these young people, and I did a little bit of research into these young people, and we should not be surprised that this is happening in our community. Why should we not be surprised? We should not be surprised that this is happening in our communities, because this is the community that we've allowed to be created. This is the community that we've allowed to be designed. This is the community that we think is okay. We have too many of our young people in special education classes in district and non-district schools because of trauma that they were born into that was consistent and persistent over the years. These young people become, I don't think their age is a coincidence, because once you're not protected by the boundaries of a school anymore and you're out in the free world, you got to make some money for yourself. You have to have some stability in your life for a place to live and for food to eat. And if you don't have a stable home because your parents have issues, because they're dealing with their own poverty and their own trauma, that young person just might join a gang because they need something to do. They want to feel protected. They need a source of income. And remember, we graduate young people who are barely reading on a middle school level, let alone high school level, who can barely do basic mathematics, who don't have a lot of confidence or love in themselves. So I don't know the exact circumstances which led those 4 people young people to have weapons and shoot in that house. I don't know who they're going for. I don't know what happened before that. And I wish they didn't do it. And what they did was wrong. But to explain is not to excuse. And in that, And in that, we have to do more as a community. So for the rest of the show, I want to talk about voting a little bit, but I also want to talk about what you and I can do to make sure young people are in good position. I know this isn't the most fun topic, the most exciting topic, but we can't let another generation of people in our community kill, rob, steal, get addicted, get sad, and go to prison. A few questions that I've heard over the last few weeks on these things include, where are the men at? Where are the men? I asked a question on Facebook. I said, who did the census? 20 women respond, I did the census, and 2 men. We need to do the census. We need to be registered to vote. We need to hold our leaders accountable in a friendly way. You encourage them. You give them feedback. You praise them for when they do well. But if you have a relationship with them privately at first, you tell them what your needs are. You remind them what your community wants. And if that doesn't work, that forms the stage for protest. We can do better. And if I was talking to anybody on council, the mayor, the freeholders, soon to be called county commissioners, the police department, the gangsters, the community leaders, the activists, me, Sean, all of us can do better. I need to be held accountable. And when I get the call that if someone thinks I made a mistake, I listen. And I try my best to hear it from that person's perspective. If I need to apologize, I do. If I need to correct my behavior, I do. And if I want to stand up for what I did, even the person who disagrees with it, I will stand my ground. I will double down. I'm Sean Brown. We must do better. And we must do better by joining an organization. Join the NAACP. It's not a perfect organization. There are issues within it, but you're going to join it and you're going to make it better. And you're going to participate. Join a mentor group like Rising Leaders, led by Namni Nelson, or Boss Mentoring, led by Rafia Hickson and others. Start naming names. As long as you're comfortable with it and you get a background check, become a coach, a volunteer coach, an assistant coach for soccer, baseball, softball, football, basketball in our community. Check on your nieces and nephews if you don't have children, your grandchildren, your next door neighbors, the kids across the street, and make sure they have books in their home. Make sure their parents feel supported. And those young people know that it's not just the household that's looking out for them, but everybody in the community cares about their academic and social, emotional success. Let's all be invested in these things. I don't have a lot of viewers right now. Am I saying something wrong here? Let me keep going. I want to go over another article that was written by Stephen Rodas. He did a profile of the school board candidates for another team. I'm going to share this article with you. All right. So this is Aaron Cooper. I got to interview Aaron Cooper a few weeks ago on the show. Oh, that's what happened earlier. I never clicked the button. There we go. I got to interview Aaron a few weeks ago. Aaron Cooper is a firefighter. Look at them in their navy blue suits. Kevin Ruiz and Janelle McCray. I talked about them on the show before. I say you can read through this article. McCray, a teacher at Camden County Technical Schools, Gloucester Township campus, should be familiar to followers of the Camden City School District. With consistent appearances during board meetings, she earned degrees from North Carolina A&T State University and Keene University before coming back to the city to teach at her alma mater, Camden High School. Cooper, which is Aaron Cooper, 43, serves as a firefighter in the city. With a background as a social worker, life skills counselor, juvenile detention officer, provisional teacher for the CCS and foster care case manager, graduated from William Patterson with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And then Kevin Ruiz. Kevin is 27, moved to Camden in 2004 from Jersey City. He served as an ambassador in the Office of Civic Engagement at Rutgers University. He was a student in undergrad when I was in graduate school. In addition to his work for the Camden Children's Garden, he also helped Puerto Ricans who arrived in the United States for the first time during his stint with Puerto Rican Unity for Progress. He's running because Camden's education systems are in a pivotal moment. And we really, really need the community representing the community once the board gets full of elected officials again. If we let the opposition fill it up with their own people, then we're going to be exactly where we started in 2012, 2013. I'm struggling to figure out what that means. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that quote means. All three candidates agreed that the CCSD returning to local control should be among the priorities of the board, regardless of the iterations of members. The impact of COVID-19 has been a topic parents consistently bring up. Aaron Cooper says a good portion of the parents that I interact with were totally left unclear as to what's going on. What's going on with the coronavirus is pretty much new to all of us too, but there were times I just saw people that didn't know what to do, didn't know what to follow. Earlier this year, Superintendent McCombs announced that schools will receive $4 million less from the state given the economic losses of COVID-19. That was months after it was already said residents in the city would be hit with a $5 million tax levy increase. One of the things that we know looking at the QSEC is that we're always in the red when it comes to our budget. So we want to find a way to develop and innovate in the means of our budget and utilize the resources that are within our city, as well as globally, to assist in educating Camden's brightest stars. Cameron Ruiz concurred with the former, pointing out the amount of public funding and education in charter schools is not equitable, he said. The fact that our public schools are pretty much always being underserved and undervalued is an issue. All right. I like these guys for the most part, but all of you guys need to really, I think all of you guys, no matter which team you're running with, you guys need to have a better understanding of what it's like to be an advisory board member. You have three things you're fighting against as an advisory board member. One, you have the internal issues of being on the board where you're an advisory board, and there are tensions between the board and Office of Superintendent to figure out who's going to how power can be exercised. Most doors that are open to you as a school board member are only opened by the superintendent or her team. That's the first challenge. Second challenge you have is budgetary challenges. That, as the article mentions, that the district is in a deficit, and it's because of the amount of students that have exited to go either move to other places or to go to other school types. The majority of parents in the city do not have confidence in the district. The leadership of whoever's elected must present confidence to parents to know that it's okay for them to send their child to a district school. Their child's going to get a great education. And then this third issue that the advisory board members face is apathy. Most people don't care. If they like the school their child goes to, That's all. That's as far as they thought about it. When they vote, they're going to vote for president, and maybe that's it. And they're not going to go move their eyes over and vote for school board. These are some of the challenges that exist. In the article, Kevin uses the word opposition. As you can see on this, in the current elected members, I can't tell you how Falio and Nye's positions are different from Elton's positions, which are different from, let's say, Nnamdi's positions on the school board. They're all pretty much fighting the same fight. There is not what would be considered like machine influence on school board candidates or school board members because they're endorsed by. It's not the way it works. And don't let anybody who's not paying attention closely enough convince you of that. I hate the way the Democratic Party picks and endorses candidates. With that said, they do pick some good candidates. Nye is a great example of that. I think Clayton and Karen in many ways are great examples of that as well. And they pick candidates that they should not pick. Brother Muhammad is an example of that. That man shouldn't be a candidate for school board. It doesn't, if we care about kids and not politics and loyalty, then it's not a good choice. So you read those names in that article, including Whip Wilson, who wants to be our next mayor, by the way. Remember this. Whip Wilson, you want to be the next mayor of Camden. You're in your 70s. You have been councilman, you've been in the state assembly, and you're now sheriff. I have absolutely no idea what your record is. When I asked you what contributions do you give to Camden, the last time I talked to you about this, you mentioned that you were a coach. You didn't say anything about a bill, an ordinance, a resolution that you sponsored as a councilman. You sponsored nothing remarkable as an assemblyman when you're in the state assembly, which is why you were no longer there. And as sheriff, you have not had a good reputation, including in the minority community of law enforcement. You have not told us your position on no-knock warrants. The same situation in which Breonna Taylor was killed. In the state of New Jersey, the sheriff is the only law enforcement official that's elected. I know Whip Wilson's position on democracy is to limit it. Whip Wilson's position on democracy, and this is well accounted for in media publications, is to say that the voters do not get to pick their next mayor. The Democratic Party does. I'm not okay with that. But most people aren't paying attention, which is why you might just get away with this. Because most people are living their lives, dealing with their issues that they have of housing and food and trauma and depression. Or they're trying to soak up some joy in this decrepit place and not really paying attention to what the sheriff says or does. But I'm paying attention. And my friends are paying attention. What does it say about us if these types of people are the best people that we can have to represent our community? That these people can be taken seriously. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. If you look, they just had the Democratic Party in Camden just had a fundraiser, $2,500 a ticket, $2,500 for one ticket. Sold out. The money that supports our candidates that are supported by the Democratic Party is coming from white suburban wealth. Over 80% of that money is coming from white suburban wealth. They don't even donate directly to candidates to run for local office. They donate to candidates running for state offices like the Senate and the Assembly. And then those people take money out of their campaign accounts and then donate money to the people running in lower elections. What this creates is a forced camaraderie among council members and state assembly and state senate members because of the way the money flows. The Democratic Party does not allow candidates to control their finances at all. They do not control their social media at all. We must wake up. We cannot do this just by Facebook posts. We have to vote. We have to educate others on how to vote, when to vote, the process. We have to hold people accountable. We have to protest. We have to make phone calls. We have to send emails. We have to show up. We have to make people feel uncomfortable. We have to challenge the system. And we have to support people like me who are informing people like you of what to do. Donate money to my show. Give me some advice. Make sure my business gets some contracts doing strategic planning and grant writing. Defend me both in public and in private. Don't just be my private friend, but be my public friend too. And know that I'm going to get it wrong. I'm going to make some bad choices. I might pick the wrong side here or there. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm trying to do the righteous thing. In the grand scheme of things, I'm trying to do what's ethical for our people. I'm trying to lift, not push. And to be honest, there are not a lot of us out here that can say this. For those of us that are in the trenches doing it, please support us. Show us love. Show us support. Make us feel welcome. Let us be ourselves. When you look at what's going on with coronavirus, how people are getting sick, how people that don't have coronavirus go into hospitals in Camden and don't come out because of how they're treated, or don't come out ever the same again. We look at our education system, how parents like me and Keisha around our country and in our community are struggling to make sure our children are paying attention and learning as we do a good job at our jobs and making money as well. It is a struggle. We should not have to worry about the quality of leadership that we have. It shouldn't be another thing. I pay attention. I appreciate you paying attention, to you listening. I'm going to end it here. Please stay engaged, stay involved, stay aware. Stay engaged, stay aware, stay involved. I'm going to pray for you. Please pray for me. There will be some special episodes throughout the week that you can pay attention to, that you'll see. Thank you. This is Colton.
Yeah.
Okay. You have a straw? Look, I'm getting my drink late.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm about to end this anyway. So take care of yourselves. Take care of your family. Thank you. Ask any questions. Let me know if you have any. Let me know if you have any questions or comments about any of this. Share. And thank you very much. Oh, no, I'm not ending yet. I'm not ending yet. There is, I almost forgot. I promised I would show you this. And I'm going to show you. This is very important, I think. Well, everything here is important. Don't hang up yet. Share this. Share this. Thank you for that like. I forgot to tell you guys this part. Oh, look, you guys are going to get excited on this. Get a gun. If you can legally get a gun, get a gun. Do you guys see what's going on the national level? These white supremacists, if Trump wins, they will feel empowered and emboldened. For the next 4 years, they feel like they are untouchable. And if he loses, they will feel like the election was stolen from them, even though it wasn't, and they're going to come at us. If you care about Black Lives Matter, if you openly support Joe Biden, they're going to be there. There is a quiet war that's going on in our country right now. And I don't think that you should fight that war by getting a gun and going out to the streets. Absolutely not. But you should get a gun the legal way, follow the laws in the state of New Jersey, wherever you live, for that gun, and be a legal gun owner with a permit. And I'm going to show you how to do it in a moment. This is very important. We cannot let the bad guys, we cannot let people who are against our values out-arm us. They can never be ethically stronger than us. But if they're willing to do dubious, scrupulous things that we are not, then we have to protect ourselves in every way that we can. So with that said, there's probably no state that's more annoying to buy a gun than in the state of New Jersey. We are probably, it is an annoying process to get a gun in New Jersey. So If you have to apply, this is the state's website, and this breaks down the rules. If your firearms application, if you reside in a city town with a local police department, as we do here in Camden, apply to your local police department. You must use, all right, so if you're, so we live in a place that has, we live in a town that has a police department. So if you go to the police department, you're going to see that it's actually pretty annoying to get a gun in Camden. One thing you got to figure out how to do it. So Camden, so I here, oh yeah, you guys can, yeah, you can see this. Camden County gun permit, and look at this. I did this earlier, and nothing really comes up. That's permits, but that's not gun permits there. So then you go to Camden County, then you go to Camden County Metro. That's what gives you the permit. The guy got me unsweetened tea. I know that's for unsweetened tea. All right. So now here's on the their website. Services, senior watch, stop it at. Definitely the gun app is a service. So where's the information about getting a gun? I don't see it. Apply now. That's officer application. Okay. I don't see how to get a gun. Ain't that something? Which means you have to physically go to the police. If you want to get a gun permit, that means you're going to have to physically go to the police department to get it. And that should not be the way. I think Wednesday's the day. I think I'm going to get a gun, and I'm going to walk everybody through the process that it takes for me to get a gun. How about that? Because we must be armed. I know so many people I know, like anti-gun or whatever. It's not smart. There's a book I can show you guys. It's a book that's influenced my thinking on this, called "This Nonviolent Stuff Will Get You Killed." This nonviolent stuff will get you killed. I am a self-described pacifist. I do not believe in violence. This here you go. Put it right up. Stuff will get you killed. By Charles Cobb. Civil rights scholar describes the vital role that armed self-defense played in the survival and liberation of Black communities in America during the Southern Freedom Movement in the 1960s. Again, I have this book. This is a summary of it right here. I'll put it down in the comments. Y'all got to get guns. We're letting the bad guys win, and we cannot let that happen. We are in the middle of a revolution, whether you feel it or not. And we are, and for people that are watching this show, you are sandwiched in this revolution. You're sandwiched between two terrible things. On one side, you got the gangsters, the people that don't care about human life, the people who are wrapped up in their own selfishness. And the other side, you have an oppressive system that good people might participate in, unbeknownst that it's oppressive, but you have an oppressive system. So we have to control the oppressive system, and we have to motivate people over here, and we must arm up because they got weapons and they got weapons. And us standing in the middle, we're not going to be able to win every single war with our intellect, with our wisdom, with our words. Strap up and get ready. This is Sean Brown. This is the Urban Disruptor. I'll give you more information as time goes on.